We have some wonderful early dolls to show you in this auction that I think are very, each is different, each is exciting in itself, and I know that many of you are always looking, I want to see something different. I'm looking for something different. So here's some great examples that I've just chosen because they're my favorites. Although honestly, I had so many pieces out here and I said, I can't do them all. So I had to put some back like the aristocratic monkey couple that were French from 1865 period, and they were dressed as a wedding couple, and they were mechanical, and he bustled down the aisle and she was kind of being dragged along by him. That's a great piece. You've got to look for that in our catalog, and I think if you look for it, you can actually see it working because it'll be a little video that goes with it to show how it works. Anyway, let's talk about the pieces that are here. Up on top, okay, she's not known for her beauty, but she is so special and so totally original, and that's why she's got to be really important to you. She is an early German paper mache, and she has a secret in that she has a wire lever to operate her eyes, open and closed. It's hidden in her torso, and if you reached under her dress, and you could open and close her eyes with the wire lever. What's most remarkable about her, other than her really beautiful aqua satin gown and her coronet of flowers and her flowers at her waist, is the paper that is still attached to it, handwritten. It says, "The Bride," from the Brooklyn Sanitary Committee Fair of the Civil War, 1861 to 1865. The Bride was bought at the Brooklyn Sanitary Fair held in the old Academy of Music on Montague Street in 1864. I know many of you know what these sanity fairs were. They were the charity fundraising events that were held throughout the North during the Civil War in order to raise funds for wounded soldiers and their families. And many people would make things. They would make crafts, they would make artistry, they would dress a doll, and they would either sell raffle tickets or the item itself would be sold to raise these charity funds. And to find one that still has the original documentation on it, actually the Brooklyn Sanitary Fair was one of the very famous ones that were held. This is an important piece of American history right here, and to have it in this great, well-preserved condition with its original provenance is really important. This also from the museum collection we're selling, which ironically is in Brooklyn, so fittingly that it comes from there. I think a very important piece. One of the wooden dolls in the auction is this beautifully preserved wooden doll from the early 1800s, English wooden doll with her original finish and more to the point, wearing her original costume. And I'm going to, because I can handle this one, I'm going to pull it down and I'm going to turn it all the way around so you can see the entire thing all the way around. Wonderful dress. Very, it's remarkable that this would exist, of this very fine, gauzy material. But it has that chintz, crisp chintz petticoat underneath that is also original, and that has probably helped preserve it all of these years. And her little wrapped feet. Now, standing behind her is a very extraordinary English wooden doll from an earlier period, and I do encourage you once again to go online if you don't get a copy of our printed catalog, and I really wish you would, and help keep print alive. But if you go online and you scroll through our auction, you will see multiple photographs of this doll, and one of them she'll be nude, and you'll be able to see a really remarkable wooden body she has with great carving, but she has the very typical spatula-shaped hands with individual fingers, a very regal presence in the way her head is upright, her throat is strong, very beautiful doll, and again having this absolutely extraordinary costume with details including her little, we've left it on the outside for you to see, but her little needlework coin purse, which is usually attached to the underside. And again, if you look online, you're going to see details of her, this is her white petticoat, very thick to keep her warm, an additional cotton petticoat, and then her undergarments. Very, very wonderful, and a beautifully detailed costume with this very unusual floral embroidery on it, and very, very different type of silk. I'm going to stay in the middle for a moment, and I want to show you this great dollhouse. This dollhouse is remarkable for several reasons. It's from the Regency period, English Regency period, so early 1800s, 1820 to 1830 period. Totally original. Nothing has been done to this at all. It accesses from the front door, and then both sides open, so you can access the interior rooms. And we've shown you several lighted version inside. We've put a light in to take the photograph, so you can see that each room has, this is unbelievable, each room has its original wallpaper, original floors, original ceilings that are quite unique, fireplaces. It's just a really, really great house. The other thing I love about this house, because so many of you are always saying, I just don't have any room, I love these, but I have no room. This is such a nice size. This is a small size that you could accommodate in any doll room. And if you pay attention to the gentleman standing at the corner of it, this kind of incorporates itself in with so many of your dolls that you could just simply have, if you have like small wooden dolls, they could stand here, they could stand in the doorway. It's a great display piece for them. This is a knockout house, very, very fine, comes directly from England. Now, standing on the doorstep is one of the most interesting papier-mâchés, French papier-mâchés that I have seen for several reasons. Number one, I love the size. Very, very petite size. It's just wonderful. And his costume is so unbelievably original. And I'm going to bring it down so I can hold it for you and I can turn it around. He's holding his little booklet that has initials on it, T and P, gilt-edged. I don't know what it is. It could be, he's maybe going to tell Napoleon something about a battle they won or lost. He has his little sword. He has his little various implements hanging from his belt. Look at the muscles in his legs. Wonderfully done. Absolutely wonderful. The pants are so perfectly fitted. To have this preserved this way after all these years is absolutely remarkable. A real prize. And then we have another wonderful wooden doll, and this one is Obergamero in Germany, in that region, which is a very, very typical type of wooden doll that they were doing. Many of the Obergamero dolls, it's in that whole period where there were many of the religious figures that were being done, and many of the parade dolls were being done, and when they would make a doll, it would be very, very distinctive. Her face is absolutely remarkable. I love her hair, and most of all, what I love is this gown. It is very, very extraordinary. This is all hand embroidery on this gown. Very, very finely done. And she's holding her own little doll, which is pretty great. Now let's move down and let's look at, well, let's start over on this side if we can. We have a gentleman who seems to be standing guard over the entire party, and what is most interesting about him is that he is wearing this all-original costume, multi-layered, absolutely extraordinary embroidery on it, and yet he has an additional secret, because when you turn him around, this wonderful costume he's wearing gives us a secret to his origin, because it tells us that he was exhibited at an international exhibition in Toulouse in 1887. So even though you kind of think that's a little bit late to be having this kind of a poupée head, remember many of these heads were still being made for special commission purposes, or certainly an existing doll might have been purchased from the company and then costumed in this. The costume is not a tourist trade costume. The costume is a very, very tailor-made, well-detailed costume with the embroidery detail of where it was exhibited and what it represented. Again, this kind of could have gone in the category on the table of the extremely rare dolls, because I know that you will never find another doll with this kind of detail of costuming. Now we're going to move on to our little exhibit of 4 Hooray Poupées. 4 Hooray Poupées, each offering different advantages to you, which you can choose from the ones you like. And you can also see by looking at them that Hooray, and I'm going to ask the camera to just keep sweeping back and forth over the 4 of them while I talk about them. So what is your choice with Hooray? Is it glass-eyed or is it painted eye? Is it solid neck or is it swivel neck? Is it wooden body? Are you content? Do you insist that you must have one with an original Hooray gutta percha body, which I find more and more collectors saying, I know, but I'm so afraid of how fragile they are. So I rather have one with a wooden body, which I know will last. And that we can offer with the wonderful girl on the right-hand side in her beautiful, vibrant red costume. That's wonderful. And then there are other examples, such as here is another one on this side, seated with her wonderful wooden body with glass eyes. So she's very, very beautifully done. And then 2 others with wonderful painted eyes and bisque arms that are very special. One of the things that I want the camera to really come in on are the painted eyes, because this is important to always, on the Hooray, to look for that extra glazed detail on the bottom part of the iris, which is, when that glazed detail is there, it just like pops those eyes out, so you can't believe they're not real. I'm looking at this one out of the corner here, and I can see how absolutely pronounced that glaze is, and it really gives the dolls their extra beauty. Remember, the Hooray dolls were done in the style that was called mode enfantine. Mode enfantine, meaning a child style. These were not designed to be fashionable grown ladies. These were designed to be children, or at least older children, and their costumes and their bodies are always styled that way. A little rounder, a little chubbier than your fashion ladies of the 1870s. This is a wonderful example of them we have. But to add to their fun, look what else we have. A signed Hooray table and chairs. The Hooray Company began their business as a company. The family business was making metal furniture with spiral twisted pedestal bases for real people, people-sized. And when Adelaide Hooray came along and made her doll, I don't know who decided, but somebody did, gee, we should make that in a doll size for her doll to sell in her shop. And when you're really lucky, you'll find them, as this example, with the original signature on the base of the table. Okay, and have this wonderful original upholstery with the fringe and the brass studs all the way around. And in this case, absolutely extraordinary, because there is a matched table and chairs, and they both have the Maison Hooray signature on it. Now I put this little piece right here because years ago, when we did the famous Blondinette collection of the Blondinette Poupée, one of the pieces of accessory that she owned was an exact mirror like this, exact. So whether this, again, was something that was sold in the Hooray shop, that's conjecture. We don't know. You mustn't assume it, but it was certainly made for that period and that era and that style of doll, so it's a kind of an important piece to have. Okay, now, not having anything to do with Hooray, but just because I had no other place to put her here in the table and I wanted to be sure to show her to you, is this wonderful, very, very rare, almost in the category of extreme rarity, bent leg Kestner all bisque. With her wonderful face, everything about her is choice. She is designed to really depict a praying child, because not only do her knees bend, but when her hands are brought forward, her hands clasp together. A very, very remarkable doll, very, very special. So I'm going to let her sit on the table in her praying position with her big Hooray sisters, hoping that someone will love her like you like her big sisters. That's Germany, Kestner, about 1885. And now we're going to move on and look at some Jumeaus.